Hello everyone, my name's David Sloane and I'll be working once again with the awesome team out of the Water Conservation Centre to bring you some really interesting demonstrations this year. So let's have a look at what we've got on the program. First up, let's have a look at what's going on the pivots. So as you can see here, on both the east and the west pivot, we're sharing water between forage sorghum and either cotton or corn. This is the same as what we did in 2024, but we've just flip-flopped. And so where we've got cotton this year, we had forage sorghum last year, and where we've got corn this year, we had forage sorghum last year. So we can actually see the rotations here, and it brings in some pretty interesting water sharing arrangements. But in 2024, forage sorghum really proved to be quite profitable. It was a really good use of water. So we'd like to continue with that experiment and also, or that demonstration, and probably carry it forward even a third year. And that way we can really look at the rotations using water across years as well, and how that comes into the mix. In addition to planting forage sorghum, what we're doing is we're going to plant a couple of strips of sorghum on 30-inch centers using a planter. So last year we only used a drill at an air seeder, and we planted that on 7.5-inch centers, and that's how the majority of the field will be done again this year. But we're also going to bring in some strips to test how best to grow it and also how best to harvest it. So where we're planting it on 30-inch centers, we're going to direct cut that using a forage harvester. Where it's on the 7.5-inch centers using the air seeder, we're going to windrow that and pick it up off the ground using a forage harvester. So that'll be interesting to look at as well. Next, we're going to continue with the comparison with UpTerra and no UpTerra. So UpTerra is a device that imparts an electromagnetic frequency on water to make it work similar to, or act similar to, rainfall. And so rain, the water as it's falling through the atmosphere gets charged, and it reacts slightly differently to irrigation water. And so that's really the comparison here, to see what effect that has on the water. We've got some interesting results, anecdotal results in 2024, so we're going to do that again, but also take some more measurements, see if we can really drill down into what's happening with the UpTerra system. Finally, on the SDI plots, we're going to revisit the 212 program. If you remember back in 2010, which is 15 years ago, some of the directors on the board bet each other that they could grow 200 bushels of corn using 12 inches of irrigation. And so that was a really successful program. It did incorporate the drought in 2011, so we had some mixed results. But we're going to go back to that and revisit that. Why? Because 15 years later, we've got different hybrids, different genetics, and we've got some drought-tolerant lines coming out. And so we thought it would be really interesting to look at that. So what we've got going on is 6 different hybrids. We've got the commercial line from 2010, from the original trial. We've got a commercial line from now, 2025. And we've also got 4 drought-tolerant lines, and so from different companies, seed companies. And we're going to look at 4 different irrigation regimes. So the original 212, so the 12 inches of irrigation, we're going to do 12 inches of in-season irrigation as well. So not count the pre-water, because that's something that's changed now. People are tending to pre-water more, I think. 18 inches of in-season, 18 inches of irrigation and 24 inches of irrigation, which is a full rate. If you think about what goes on under the circle versus the entire section, your 18-inch allocation actually converts to 24 inches on the wet area. So we're going to look at all of those scenarios, and we're also going to have 2 different plant dates, so an early plant date and a late plant date. And this will produce a really rich data set and a great demonstration, so you can actually have a look at where we've come from and what's achievable now. And also, I think the 212, the 12 inches is becoming more of a reality. So can't wait to see what happens this season, and you'll be able to come out and tour these plots during the field day later in the year.